The families of the two boys who were killed and mutilated in Soweto last week obviously struggling terribly to accept this loss. They want answers. They want to see criminals brought to justice and soon. Police, however, have not made any arrests since the bodies were discovered. Of course, we know that a third little boy escaped the attack. Of course, his family is very concerned about him. He's totally traumatized by the ordeal. Our reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones has been following the very latest developments on this story. Pule, this is such a terrible story. I would imagine that for the police, that third little boy who's in a state of complete trauma is their best lead. Do we even have an idea who the police are looking for, how many people they're looking for? Any clues?
We don't have any idea. No one has been brought in for questioning, no arrests. We don't know what are the latest leads. Police say there's no developments for now. This means the parents of the children who lost their lives are pinning their hopes on witnesses to come forward, particularly what we saw yesterday with Action SA leader Herman Mashaba saying whoever comes forward with very great information that could help the police will get a reward of about 50,000 rand. That's if these suspects are apprehended and brought to justice with that information that would have been brought forward. But apart from that, there's really nothing. I spent the entire day in the community just trying to get a sense of what's going on. Sally, it seems as though there's something quite concerning that community in terms of crime and in terms of child kidnappings going on as well, because we have established that yesterday there was an attempted kidnapping that happened just after the night vigil that took place. One child, believed to be 12 years old, was allegedly abducted, but later found by the community at a certain place where they believe that's where is a haven for crime, where criminal activities are taking place.
At the vigil for these little boys?
Yes.
Before they were discovered?
No, just after. Just after they were discovered, there was a night vigil that took place. And there was another case that took place. Gosh. Today we saw police officials being there. A case was opened. And I think that's also under investigation. So clearly shows you there is quite a concern. But quite interestingly enough, there's a bit of hope in the community, because you have members of the police community forum who are patrolling. They are now coming out in their numbers. They're actually saying that children shouldn't be playing outside after 6 p.m. where there could be either load shedding or it's darker quickly as well. So they are ensuring that parents, put in proper safety measures to ensure the protection of children, most importantly, and to ensure this does not happen once again. Let's take a listen to what this young man had to say, who is one of the leaders of that policing forum in that community.
Ever since this incident has happened, we haven't been resting as patrollers, as well as the SAPS. I'm talking about your JMPD as well. We make it a point that we extended our hours as patrolling. We make it a point that we increase the capacity of patrollers as well. We're communicating with patrollers from outside as well to actually assist us in regards to the issue here. And then ever since this incident has happened, like for instance, we had an event yesterday for candlelight. After the event, we had another incident whereby there was an attempt again of a child that was almost taken from Ipelecheng, which is a place nearby, almost the same street. So now the child here was actually taken by another guy there who was described wearing a trouser that had a little bit of blood stains on it. And then the guy just took the child, and he was watching the child just before he took them. He watched them for quite a long time, and then after that he took the child. They went straight to a place called by what's this here? They call it Homemakers. Yeah, they call that place here. So I don't know whether they were passing by Homemakers or that's where they actually going. So now we went look for the child there. Fortunately, we did find the child. And then on the scene here, when we arrived, we found this child's shoes. That's where the child showed us that this is where exactly I was. This is where exactly this person took me. And the guy asked for my phone, and then the guy asked me to actually stand here while he's still calling the car. So that's when I got a chance to actually run. So yeah.
How old was the child?
Well, the child is actually 12 years.
Yeah, so luckily that child was found. You were telling me about this Homemakers building, so it's a derelict building. I presume authorities have made sure no one can get near that building if that's where a lot of criminals hang out. Am I right?
I saw about 4 police vans there today,
Okay.
with police officials inside them. So
Right.
they're patrolling heavily
That's
in
good
that
to
area
hear.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think what we want the right arrests, as
Yeah.
we saw in your Gardaí story last week.
Yes.
You don't want potentially the wrong people arrested in a hurry because of pressure. I know you've spoken to the families of the 2 boys who were murdered. It just must be the most awful time. What are they saying?
It's quite sad. It's heartbreaking, you know. And like you say, one of the parents said that she wants the police to take their time and make the right arrest because she doesn't want an event whereby someone is arrested and they let off the hook because there isn't enough evidence. But I spoke to the family of Tiamo Rabane, 5 years old Sally, also found mutilated. And they were telling me that they want answers. Most importantly, they want to face the suspects and understand why that happened. So you get a sense that there are still questions that they want answers to. And then I spoke to the family of one of the 6-year-old child who was also killed. And they told me that they couldn't speak for now because they were still a bit traumatized. They wanted space. But they had said that the memorial service will take place on Wednesday and the funeral for both children will take place on Friday. So you can imagine the kind of pain they're going through as a parent. It's quite heartbreaking. The crime has actually spiraled out of control like this, particularly at gender-based violence, and it's a pandemic on women and children. But I just wanted to take a listen to what the mother said in terms of wanting answers in regards to this particular story.
Impendulo siyasifuna kakhulu sithole ukuthi ubani owenze isenzo esibuhlungu kangaka. Yeah, siyasifuna impendulo nokuthi simbone lo muntu owenze lesenzo lesi.
Umndeni wona unjani?
Sibuhlungu sonke, silimele sonke sumndeni njengoba nomphakathi nawo ulimele. iSouth Africa yonke nje I think ilimele kakhulu. So siwumndeni asinamandla. Kodwa nje ngomusa kaNkulunkulu siyamcela ukuthi asiqinise ngoba phela kumele siphume silungise umsebenzi omfana.
And then for this week, what is the way forward from Delhi?
Oh, okay. Utiamo uzobekwa, both of them bazobekwa on Friday. Yeah, i-services izoqala ngo-9 and then bazophuma ngo-11. I-services izoba seJabavu Stadium.
So that's Tiamo's granny.
That's Tiamo's granny, pardon me. Yeah.
I would imagine this is going to be a massive funeral.
Sally, look, from the people I spoke to today, it seems as though hundreds of community members are going to be out in their numbers to celebrate the lives of these 2 young children, most importantly. But from there onwards, they'll be back to the streets to ensure they patrol, that this does not happen again, and that hopefully the police may have answers as to what really happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And why?
Yeah.
If indeed it was, and it does look like it was a Muti killing,
Yeah.
what would have been the supposed benefit of doing this to a child? Thank you so much, Pule Letshwiti-Jones.